Let's be honest, I have tried so many sustainable habits over the years. Some of them suck. They do. Some of them really, really suck, but some of them stuck. They stuck with me. I still do them every single day. I use these habits all the time. I use the swaps all the time, and it's worth talking about because I feel like so many people in this space feel like they have to be all or nothing. They need to do everything to 110%, or they're not going to do anything at all. And I'm just here to tell you it is about balance. You don't have to feel guilty if you can't do everything to 100% because most people can. So I'm here to talk about some of the habits that have stuck with me through the years and also some habits that I totally I let go. Guilt-free, just was like, these are not for me. If you're new here, my name is Crystalline, but you can call me Chris, and we chat all things mind, body, and planet on this corner of the internet, so I hope you stick around. Let's start with some of the habits that have stuck with me through the years. Number one, using what I have. I know, did you probably think I was gonna say something kind of crazy? Using what I already have has seriously become one of my favorite things. I think in the past, if something kind of happened to me, like if something broke, or like if I was on social media and somebody had these cute pair of shoes, then my first reaction to that would be like, oh, I want that too. And then I would just buy it new, or I would just buy a new version of whatever broke. Since kind of shifting my mindset here to using what I already have, now my first go-to is looking around my house to see if something will work in the intended way that of whatever I was gonna purchase anyways. Especially home and beauty stuff, I look around my house and I think to myself, can I repurpose this to work better for me? 90% of the time, yes, I can. So I've got old glass jars from pasta sauce, peanut butter, and jelly that I use as storage containers for food and leftovers. I have some mugs and some glasses around my house that I wasn't using, so I repurposed them on my desk to hold my pens and my pencils. And I've been gifted canisters that I don't even really know what they were meant to be used for, I guess decoration. Well, now I keep those as containers where I can put dog treats in them. I think there's just so much that we don't realize can actually be repurposed into things we actually use, even if it's not like the way that that product was supposed to be used in the first place. So using what I already have is definitely like my number one habit that I love because it also saves me money, and who does not want to save money? The second habit that's really stuck with me is walking more and driving less. For many of us, we live in places that are not considered walkable cities. Like I live in Texas, it's really hot here. You have to drive to get pretty much anywhere. But something that I've realized as I've gotten older is that sometimes it's not about living in a walkable city, but it's about making your city walkable, if that makes sense. Obviously you're gonna have to drive to get to common areas. You don't live downtown where you can walk to the grocery store. But what you can do is if, let's say you're going to a doctor's appointment, you could drive to your doctor's appointment, and then if there's a coffee shop nearby or a restaurant nearby that you want to grab a little treat at, then instead of getting in your car to leave your doctor's office parking lot and driving to that spot that's like a 2-minute walk, just doing the walk in the first place. So kind of making it more walkable, even though for many people, I feel like the first sign or the first go-to would be just to drive from parking lot to parking lot. But we don't have to do that. And something that I've really loved is it's opened my eyes to be like, okay, it's actually closer than I thought it was. And I've been able to grab a sweet treat, enjoy exploring the area that I'm around, and then walking back to my car to head home or head wherever else I'm going after that. On that same note, I feel like instead of leaving my house and being like, oh, where can I go? When I'm spiraling and I'm like, oh, I need to get out of my house. Instead of driving places, I just take a walk around my neighborhood. I live close to a couple of parks. It's really nice to get out. Sure, yes, you could get in your car and you could drive to the park, even though it takes you only 5 minutes to walk there, but the walk is way more fun. It's actually really enjoyable, even if it's really hot out. Another habit that's really stuck with me are a couple of sustainable swaps that I feel like have now just turned into my go-tos. The first one is a Swedish dishcloth. Now, if you've never heard of a Swedish dishcloth before, it's essentially like a square rag, but when you get it new, it's kind of crunchy. You kind of feel like, oh, how do people use this? But when you get it wet is when the magic happens. It really absorbs a ton of water and becomes super flexible. So I love using a Swedish dishcloth to wipe down the counters in my kitchen, for example. If I spill some salt, spill a little flour, get a little sugar on the counter, whatever it might be, it's easy for just a quick little water cleanup of those things. And then I rinse off the Swedish dishcloth and I can then let it dry, use it again later. Don't use paper towels nearly as often anymore. anymore. I love a Swedish dishcloth because I feel like they last me forever. When they get really dirty, I just throw them in my dishwasher with my next load of dishes and it gets clean so I can reuse it again and again and again. It's amazing. I love it. And I actually just got a new Swedish dishcloth. I had some family that went to Sweden for a bit and they brought back a new Swedish dishcloth for me, which is honestly like the coolest gift. The other swap that I'm obsessed with is actually bar soap. I'm not sure why or when we all just decided to go to liquid soap and liquid body wash, because bar soap I feel like gives me a better clean. I feel like whenever I am sudsing up my body, the soap actually, you know, gets on my body versus a liquid wash feels like it rinses off before it can actually get to all of my little crevices in my body. I mean, half of a liquid body wash is just water anyways. Maybe I think the stat is like 90% of a liquid anything is water. So why not use a bar soap? It's gonna last you longer, it smells just as good, and I really feel like it works better. So those two things, they are cute, they work, and I feel like I never run out of them. Last habit that has really stuck with me through the years is digital minimalism. I know this doesn't seem like a sustainable or an eco-conscious habit, but I promise you it actually kind of is. The less clutter that you have digitally, the clearer your mind gets. Like 80%, maybe even more than that, depending on what you do for work, is all online. So if you feel like every day you're logging into your work computer, you're logging onto your phone, or you're scrolling through social media and you just feel like there's so much information, like it's information overload, it kind of clogs your brain up and you feel overwhelmed, and maybe you don't even realize it, that your digital space is making you feel overwhelmed. So let this be your sign to go through all of those emails and delete them. First of all, delete them, organize them based on category if you feel like you're not ready to delete them, and enjoy the peace of having a clean space digitally. This also goes for social media. If you feel like you're scrolling social media and it's become a comparison game for you, try going through who you follow and make sure you're only following people who actually make you feel good about yourself, who inspire you, who encourage you, instead of the people that make you feel bad. Maybe you followed a travel influencer and you're like, wow, it's so incredible all these places they're going to, and you go from saving the ideas and the itineraries to then feeling jealous that they're traveling and you're not. Maybe that is a sign to unfollow them for a while, maybe mute their content for a bit. And whenever you feel like you're in a better space, that's when you could go back, unmute them, refollow them, and have them back on your For You feed. But really, digital minimalism, it's made my life a lot better, okay? It's made my life a lot better. It saves energy, it saves data, and it also saves my sanity. I actually talk a lot more about digital minimalism in my guided routine reset. I'll link that below in the description. I think you're really gonna find it helpful if you're getting like the itch to refresh and renew your routines and make them better for your mind, your body, and the planet. It's a 5-day email challenge where every day you get just a little tidbit, a little something, a little task, a little goal to make your routines refresh and better for the lifestyle that you're living. All right, we've made it to part 2. These are habits that did not work and why that is okay. The first thing that didn't work for me is toothpaste tablets. I really wanted to like toothpaste tablets. In my head, I was totally open to it. I love the idea. I love the concept. Like I said, 90% of our like liquid and paste items is actually just water. So you really only need like the dehydrated 10% part of those products in order to actually do anything. So toothpaste tablet was like, oh, great. And you can get them where they're plastic free. They're easy to travel with, especially like if you're going on a flight and you only have a carry-on. It makes it a breeze. You don't have to worry about what kind of toothpaste you're bringing. Unfortunately, while my mind said yes, my mouth said no. I cannot get over the taste. I cannot get over the texture. I just couldn't get behind it the more that I used them. And not to mention that whenever I was using them, my husband would tell me I had stinky breath. And that was enough for me to be like, you know what? I think I just need to go back to regular toothpaste. So I use Sensodyne. I know it's not like the best, most ethical brand out there, but it does work. I have sensitive teeth, makes my teeth feel less sensitive, and I don't have stinky breath, according to my husband, anymore. The other habit I can't get behind are all the DIY projects that are in the sustainability space. I've seen stuff from like DIY deodorant to DIY cleaning cleaners. And personally for me, like while I do love a DIY, love it, it's just not always reasonable, and I don't ever feel like the DIY does what I need it to do. You know, like I would rather just buy regular deodorant than try to DIY a deodorant like with coconut oil and stuff that actually doesn't really work. And I know there are some DIY cleaner recipes out there, which there's two that I feel like I do kind of use sometimes, which is a vinegar cleaner and then a like alcohol cleaner to disinfect. Those two are good. I like them. They're pretty easy to make, but the problem is whenever I start throwing in the essential oils and all of a sudden I smell the cleaner that I've made and I'm like, this just smells really, really bad. Like I would be better off if I just bought the more conscious cleaner from the store. I don't have any regrets on trying any of the DIYs, but they just, you know, for me personally, I did not feel like all of the ones that I've done were worth my time and actually did better than what I could just buy at the store, save a ton of time for just a couple more dollars. The third habit are just random shopping bans. Now there's two parts of this that I feel like I have to talk about. The first one are those like random like blackout shopping days where just somebody random on the internet says no one is gonna buy anything on this random day of the month because we all need to come together and show the corporations that we the people have the power. Every time that there is like a buying blackout day, I never feel like anything comes from it. And then you just make people feel bad for the people who live paycheck to paycheck who can't really afford like waiting to buy their groceries an extra day because they're out of groceries. So yeah, you know, I'm not really a fan of like the blackout, just don't buy anything, because even if someone doesn't buy something on like the blackout day, that again, somebody random on social media decided was a day to not buy anything, doesn't mean that the next day that same person isn't gonna buy a haul's worth of clothes from like a fast fashion company. Like I just don't really feel like they do what they're supposed to do. But on that note, I do feel like there is a way to go about it in a way that just kind of resets your expectations with your spending and makes things feel a little bit more intentional when you do like a no-buy challenge, which I am also in the middle of a no-buy challenge this year. And it has been very interesting and it's been challenging and thought-provoking. So I'll have to do an update video soon on just a couple of things that I've learned along the way. But I would say going into even just a challenge like that willy-nilly without any support or any sort of like direction and guidance is really, really difficult. And it's gonna be like something that you throw yourself into and you end up failing because you don't have the support behind you. Which is why I made my no buy year challenge template on Notion. I'm gonna link that in the description as well in case that's of interest for you as well. It's just a really fun place to be able to put all of your goals from a no buy year into one place and kind of help keep track of your spending and what you want out of this challenge. Support makes all the difference in things like that. So I am for doing like a no buy challenge as long as you have like the prep and the resources and the support behind you to actually feel like you're getting something out of it at the end of the day. But I'm not for all of these like random, I'm just not gonna buy because I'm not gonna do it without any support, any prep, or actually feel like you're doing anything at the end of the day. Everybody's gonna have a totally different experience when it comes to adopting sustainable habits, but these are the ones that I've felt like actually have benefited me, made me feel good, versus ones that kind of made me feel like I was punishing myself, which is a good point. Making these sort of habits, any habit, should make you feel good, not like you're punishing yourself. You have to let go of your perfectionism to be able to say, okay, I might not be able to do all of these things to 100%, but I can do half of these things to 50%, and that is better than doing nothing at all. Another thing that I found really helpful in keeping these habits feeling like they're actually working is doing some habit stacking. Like I'll pair journaling in the morning with my favorite cup of tea. So it feels like I'm rewarding myself by also being introspective. Or when I'm cleaning, I'll grab my favorite dishcloth and I'll clean with that, or use my favorite cleaner that smells the best. So it feels like I'm having a good time making these little switches and changes into my everyday routines. Sustainability doesn't have to feel crunchy or chaotic. It can feel soft and slow and just easy. If it feels easy, then you're doing it right. If it feels like everything is so heavy and you're feeling really guilty, maybe it's time for you to take a step back and be like, okay, some of these habits aren't working for me, and that is okay. But some of them are working, so let's lean into the things that are working. Even if you start with just one swap at a time, that's amazing. If you're on your sustainability journey, I see you, I hear you, I'm with you. Let me know in the comments if there's a habit that's stuck with you for a long time, or honestly, let me know if there's some habits out there that you're not for, because that's the tea that I really want to hear. But I will see you guys in the next video. If you like these videos, you can subscribe, you can like this video, give it a little thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!